morning, everyone. Welcome to our new class. It is about the active transport, which is the third part in in chapter 3. So by the ending of this, we will finish the theory of chapter 3. In active transport, we have three topics. One for the core and two for the supplements. Actually, three for some supplements, including that of core. Describe active transport as movement of particles through a cell membrane from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. It is to say, against a concentration gradient using energy from respiration. So this is what we have for the core students as well as the supplement or extending students. Again, two more topics are important for the supplement students is how to explain the importance of active transport as a process for movement of molecules or ions across membranes, including ion uptake by root hairs, and also state that the protein carrier move molecules or ions across a membrane against the concentration gradient. So those are the three topics for the active transport we have to deal with, and by the end of today's lecture or episode, we are going to finish that. Let us go and see what is there. From our last lectures, we agreed that, or last periods, we agreed that there are three processes which by which substances can or particles can move into or out of the cell. One of them is the diffusion, which could be passive transport or active transport, and we have the osmosis, and then at last we have the active transport. So those are the three processes: diffusion, osmosis, and active transport, by which the particles and molecules are transported into or out of the cell. However, also we understand that diffusion is the term used for the movement of ions other than water into and outside of the cell, while osmosis is only for water getting into or outside the cell. Now we will see what's active transport and how we can deal with it. What is an active transport? This is what we are going to answer now. And also we would like to know the differences between active transport and the other two types of movement of particles, the diffusion and the osmosis. So active transport is the movement of molecules or ions through a semi-permeable cell membrane or partially permeable cell membrane against the concentration gradient from the region of low concentration to a region of higher concentration. Second, using energy from respiration, which is ATP. So be careful about these two conditions. There are two conditions that are very important. First, it is the movement against the concentration gradient. Second, it requires energy from respiration, ATP. 3, it is aerobic respiration takes place in the mitochondria. The aerobic respiration takes place, mitochondria. And number 4, also it needs a carrier protein. So those are the characteristics and at the same time the conditions by which the active transport happens. Movement from low concentration. Diffusion is from high concentration to the low concentration. But the active transport is from low concentration to higher concentration. So they are opposing each other. Again, it's the concentration gradient. Again, whether osmosis or diffusion, they pose from high concentration to low concentration. The movement from high concentration to low concentration. Only the difference between them is that we use high potential, high concentration potential and low concentration potential in case of water or in case of osmosis. But both of them, they are from high concentration to low concentration. When we compare them to active transport is the opposite. It's the movement of the particles from low concentration to high concentration. Again, it's the concentration gradient. And because it is against the concentration gradient, it needs the help of energy. So it requires energy from respiration, which is ATP, in the form of ATP. And ATP is the acronym of adenosine triphosphate. It comes from where? It comes from aerobic respiration takes place in the mitochondria. The third important thing is that it needs carrier protein. There is no need for diffusion to carrier protein and no need for water to make osmosis process using carrier protein. So those are the important and the differences between the 3 types of movement of particles into or outside the cell. Now here I would like you to see this picture and to see this image and to see how the use of energy is very important. It is very, very important. Now, this is the inside of the cell and this is the outside of the cell. Here we have high concentration gradient. Here we have low concentration. However, we would like to take this out of the cell towards the high concentration gradient. So we move this molecule against the concentration gradient from the low concentration to the high concentration. It cannot happen just like this. It needs some requirements. First, it needs ATP, energy, because you want to push this one to go out to the high concentration. So you want to push this molecule to go out. This needs energy. Second, it needs a protein. You see this one? This is a carrier protein. It is an upper, tirhal, something that needs it, help it to move out against the concentration gradient. Now let us make it vice versa, from outside into the inside of the cell. So inside of the cell contains a lot of this green molecule, but still this cell needs more. So it take it from the outside to the inside. So how we can do that? Using the active transport against the concentration gradient. That means this green molecule is going to go or to move from low concentration to the high concentration against its concentration gradient. It needs requirements. What are those requirements? First is the ATP, the energy. It needs energy. So the first thing, it needs energy. From where we get this energy? From the mitochondria of the cell, where aerobic uh, respiration takes place. We are going to talk about this when we come to respiration. But here it's going to be that. And then this is not enough. We need this protein, a carrier protein, an upper, a tirhal, to take it from place to place. Okay? Now, the best example of this type is the root cell. And the as it takes nitrogen from the soil inside the body, although it has high concentration of nitrogen in the form of nitrate inside the cell, but it's also absorb it inside. Let us go forward. We keep saying carrier protein, carrier protein. What do we mean by a carrier protein? We say, yes, it is an upper. You can name it tirhal or any type of transportation mean you use it in your country. However, the definition of a carrier protein, carrier proteins are proteins molecule in the cell membrane. So it present in the cell membrane that can use energy. It utilizes energy to change their shape. They are going to change their shape in order to move ions or molecules into the cell or outside the cell. Now let us see here. You see this here in this picture. This is the molecule, the carrier protein, the green one. Here it is green, not like the other one. And this carrier protein, using the energy, which is ATP, adenosine triphosphate, okay, it change its shape, it gulps, it gets into it the this green one and bring it inside, and so on. If you want to take it outside, the same thing. If what is the wrong with this one? The wrong with this one is that from high concentration to low concentration, which is not true. The true is to take the inside to the outside, from low concentration to high concentration. So you have to be carefully know what you want to do. But here, our purpose is to explain how the carrier protein change itself and make some sort of shape change in order to take the molecule inside, and then after that move it towards the towards the high concentration. Be careful. Whenever you have active transport, you are going to move something. Let us assume this bottle. You are going to move something where those bottles are few, low concentration, to where bottles are many, that means high concentration. You are moving particles against the concentration gradient from low concentration to high concentration. And this is why you need to use energy and why you need to use this carrier protein that change its shape to allow the movement of a specific molecule from low concentration to high concentration against the concentration gradient. Now here, this is again, we have the carrier protein, and we would like to mention this carrier protein first as this is a pink one here, this carrier protein, which changes itself and takes the molecules from low concentration into high concentration against the concentration gradient, and this is why it needs energy and needs this type of protein that is able to change its shape in order to allow the movement of such molecule. So be careful about that. This is another one just for more clarification, and here we make it correct, because this is from low, the movement is from low concentration to downwards direction into high concentration, regardless of whether this is inside the cell to the outside the cell or vice versa. Here we come to apply our knowledge about active transport to what we have in cells, active transport and cells, how this happens inside cells. And by this, we are going to the cell that under requirement is the root cell, and in the root hair cell takes nitrate ions from the soil. The concentration of the nitrate ions inside the root hair is higher than their concentration in the soil. So the soil has low concentration. Inside the cell is high concentration of nitrogen or nitrate. Through the diffusion of the nitrate ions though the diffusion of nitrate ions is from root cell out into the soil, that means simple diffusion, where or passive diffusion, where normally the nitrate ion goes out of the cell or move out of the cell by diffusion, by passive diffusion, because it should go from high concentration to low concentration, but still the root cell has the ability to absorb nitrate inside the cell using the active transport. So it absorb or move the nitrate ion from the soil into the cell using the active transport. That means it uses energy. That means it moves the nitrate ion from low concentration to the high concentration against the concentration gradient. That means it needs a carrier protein to do that. Now, as we said before, that the carrier protein changes itself in order to allow the nitrate to come into it, then pass through from high concentration to low concentration against the concentration gradient. That means it is going to move from the soil into the inside of the cell, and then the carrier protein changes itself. Membrane, then through the membrane, then energy is provided by mitochondria. What type of energy? It is ATP energy, adenosine triphosphate, and energy produced through aerobic respiration and is needed to produce the shape change in the carrier protein. So why we need this energy because we need to change the protein shape and at the same time to move this one from high concentration to low concentration. Very nice. This is just for more clarification. Now we complete chapter 3. The only thing left is the practical part of it. I'm going to make it in a specific um, episode, maybe episode, depending on how many experiment we would like to explain. And also, I would like to take, you can take, I would like to allow you to take you a brief so you can easily work with the previous one. Now you have chapter 2 and chapter 3. The next chapter is going to be chapter 1. And then after that, we are going to move forward. So I'm going back to chapter 1. So by ending of chapter 1, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, and then we follow the order of the book. Thank you for having me this time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for continuing studying with me and understand what I have done. Please distribute this to your classmate, your friends, and share with them. If you have any problem, just write it down in the comment section. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you and have a good day.